wisdom, student enrollment. That's what the class of God students enrolling. Supreme wisdom, I study it hard. The study of myself is the study of God. Supreme wisdom, write your letter, get your X. Supreme wisdom, that's what you'll be getting next. Supreme wisdom, some call it the lessons, but I call it life, actual facts, no guessing.
But it says, God said unto him, thy name is Jacob, thou shalt not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And that's what happened right there. Shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And God said unto him, I am God Almighty, be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins, and the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac to thee, I will give it, and thy seed after thee will give the land. Isn't that what these people who are calling themselves the children of Israel are doing? They're not trying, like you said, they're not trying, they do. But that's not even their name. Their original name told you what they were doing. We call them devil. But, after they made it face to face, after encountering with the holy people and getting out alive and being able to run away after they tricked us, they made it out alive. They were like, I did them so wrong back then, I'm just going to change my name so I can escape this thing.
That's the way that they do it.
Right? Exactly. That's the way they do it. These people who are going around calling themselves Jews, they always change their names. Right? And then because of this recessiveness that they carry, they can breed into people, right? But only the dominant will show. Their phenotype, will be one way, but their genotype will be another way. So they can come up to the original people with subtlety and they not even know that that's them. But what gave them away? Their voice. What they heard coming out their mouth. What did they take with them? The language. The way they speak gives them away every time. And even the message says, how can you tell a real devil from a non-devil?
Watch them play with each other and their children.
It said, and the devil children will speak filthy language and teach the other children filthy dances and filthy songs. And I was just trying to come up with a picture to put for the Israeli flag. And for the little Israeli children. And they had pictures of men kissing men in Israel, and the Israeli flag with the LGBT colors. But now, this is what we already went over this. This is why they went and changed their name, because they're trying to supplant you. They're trying to trick you. They're trying to take your birthright. So they already tricked us and took our birthright, and this is the birthright that they're trying to get. They're trying to get into the Holy Land, but they knew their number was limited. So they're trying to extend their years on this earth by dressing in our clothes, right? Getting up close to us, and then taking us over, supplanting us, and then stealing what belongs to us. And that's how they still move today. Okay, this is more. Okay, anyway. Check this out. Now, this is again detailing Jacob, or at this point now he's Israel. This is him moving. And this is right here. It says, and he said, I am God, the God of thy father. Fear not, go down into where? Egypt. For I will there make of thee a great nation. I will go down with thee into Egypt, and I will also surely bring thee up again. And Joseph shall put his hand upon thy eyes. And Jacob rose from Beersheba, and the sons of Israel carried Jacob their father, and their little ones and their wives in the wagons, which Pharaoh had sent to carry him. And they took their cattle and their goods, which they had gotten in the land of Canaan, and came into Egypt. Jacob and all his seed with him, his sons and his sons' sons with him, his daughters and his sons' daughters, and all the seed brought he with him into Egypt. So here is Jacob and his seed, which are now called Israel, that made their way into Egypt. But the way they even got here is because way back here, they stole their right and their blessing from their brother, who was stronger than them, right? But was destined to serve them. And Israel dwelt in the land of Egypt and the country of Goshen, and they had possessions there, and it grew in multitude exceedingly. Now this part, where it goes even further, is Jacob had a son. He had many sons. One of them name was Joseph, his favorite son. His brothers were hating on him, so they sold him to the Egyptians. Joseph became favored in Egypt, and he actually sent for his father and his, his relatives to come to Egypt with him. So when Jacob or Israel came to Egypt, they came and they were actually invited on the good graces. So they were actually brought to Egypt on good graces. Right? Right? Here. Okay? How did they get there? They were invited. They were invited. Okay? So where am I? Now, question is, why does the devil teach the 85% that the mystery God brings all things? Answer, Sister Denzel?
To conceal the true God, which is the Son of Man, and make slaves out of the 85% by keeping them worshiping something he knows they cannot see, invisible. And he lives and makes himself rich from their labor. The 85% knows that it rains, hail, and snows. Also hears it thunder above his head, but they do not try to learn who is it that causes all this to happen. By letting the 5% teach them, he believes in the 10% on face value.
Heard that? So what it's saying is that they can learn what the cause of all this is if they just let the 5% teach them. But instead, they want to believe the 10% on face value. Right? Who is the 10%? Brother Malcolm, can you read the answer? Who is the 10%?
The rich slave masters of the poor, who teach the poor lies to believe that the Almighty, true and living God is a spook, cannot be seen by the physical eye, otherwise known as the bloodsuckers of the poor.
That's right. Who fits that description? But again, if you notice, I went from talking about biblical and things like that to this is just naming people. Do you see a race in here? Does it say that they're the white people?
No.
Does it give a race? Does it give the ethnicity? But it's telling you by their works, what they're doing, who this 10% is, right? And again, this is who's believed on face value, right? I could, for sake of time, but the 85% is the uncivilized people, poison animals, eaters, slaves for mental death, and power people who do not know the living God or their origin in this world, and they worship that which they know not, who are easily led in the wrong direction, but hard to lead in the right direction. It's the same thing. Do you see a race here?
No.
So you fall in this category by your works, right? So the 85% isn't just the ignorant black masses, but this includes the ignorant white masses, yellow masses, red masses, and brown masses. And the same with this 10%. This doesn't just include white people or the Jews, but because like we said, they supplant, they come subtly. So they can come in black skin, brown skin, yellow skin, red skin. Okay, but again, how did Isaac, what did he said, you don't sound like Esau. So you have to watch how they speak, what they do. But again, the 85% believe 10% on face value, right? So we have our brother Bill Cosby, who's just been sentenced to 3 years in prison for allegedly raping, I don't even know how many, but he was found guilty on all accounts, and not just found guilty, went to jail, like in cuffs. Yes, sir?
Yeah, but I thought he was just found guilty about one of the girls' accusations.
No, whatever different, because I haven't been keeping up with the charge.
But about 60 person came up with that same type of accusation against him.
Right. Well, I know he was found guilty enough to go to jail, Like I said, I haven't been keeping it up. I think I just saw it on social media, like in passing. But, right? But you have your president, Donald J. Trump, who was on video, was a video camera voice recorder, said he grabs women by their genitals.
Yeah.
And then when they asked him, did he do it, even though they have video of him saying it, he said, she's ugly. Why would I even do that? And people was like, yep, you're right. You good to go. So don't that sound like you believe in somebody on face value?
But that man, who Donald Trump assigned for the people a Supreme Court nomination.
Look, I can't even lie to you. I've been keeping up with it because I've been so engrossed in this. But I just kind of saw stuff in passing. But
No.
10%, can we not say that Donald Trump is rich?
Yeah.
Is he not a slave master?
Yeah.
Right? Does he not teach the poor people lies? Especially the people, his voting body who elected him, he lied to them, right?
Yep.
And
So this is just one example, but there are many.
Supreme wisdom, some call it the lessons, but I call it life, actual facts, no guessing.